There's an abyss between what is real and what is performed. In the modern world, the pursuit of external validation, especially in women, echoes like a siren's song, attracting and, at times, wrecking a man's stability. Freud, in his analysis of the psyche, glimpsed the origin of certain feminine pursuits in absence in the perceived lack, a void that women, sometimes unconsciously, try to fill through a mirror of 1,000 faces. This incessant search, this hunger for external approval, isn't just a personality trait. It can be the manifestation of a deep imbalance, resonating in the hearts and minds of the men who approach them. Consider the luminous screen that now connects and traps us. The woman, in her quest to be seen, to be desired, casts her image into a sea of glances. That swimsuit photo posted with the caption "Sunny Day" isn't just about the sun. It's about validation. It's a silent cry for attention, an attempt to fill the primordial lack that, in the Freudian view, lies at the origin of her psyche. It's an unconscious desire to affirm her presence, to prove her worth, a pursuit that sometimes becomes an obsession. Each like, each comment is a temporary reinforcement, a palliative for a need that, by its nature, cannot be fully satisfied externally. And the man beside her? The one who swore loyalty and built a home? He observes. With each like, each complimentary comment, a subtle erosion sets in. It's not vulgar jealousy, but the perception that his partner seeks outside what she perhaps should find within or with him. He questions himself. Am I enough? Is my presence complete? His self-esteem, unknowingly, begins to crack. Trust is shaken, and the seed of insecurity is planted, not because of his deficiency, but because of the woman's incessant pursuit of a type of recognition that he, by definition, cannot fill alone. The man might feel like he's in an invisible competition, where the opponents are ghosts on social media. In social situations, the dynamic repeats itself. The woman who dominates the center of attention, attracting glances and laughter, even in the presence of her partner, is unconsciously feeding this thirst for validation. The man, in turn, may feel invisible, a mere appendage, while his partner, immersed in this performance, perhaps doesn't even realize the harm she inflicts. He finds himself in the background, a spectator in his own life, watching his partner shine at the expense of his own peace of mind. Her smile for others, the energy directed at attracting external attention, is a constant reminder that he is not the only beacon illuminating her path. Communication becomes a minefield. The man tries to express his discomfort, his need for exclusive attention. But the woman, caught in the cycle of external approval, might interpret this as control, insecurity, an attack on her freedom. She defends her autonomy, without realizing that true freedom lies in not depending on external approval. Her pursuit of completeness, if external, becomes a burden. He feels compelled to state the obvious, that a healthy relationship requires mutual attention and respect. When you have to verbalize what should be intrinsic, what should be a silent understanding, it's a clear sign that something is already fundamentally wrong. The clothing, the behavior, the constant display of a body seeking applause. All of this, from a Stoic perspective, is a flight from inner virtue. It's the projection of an image to the world, instead of the building of a solid character. For the man, this is a dilemma. How to love and trust someone who, even unconsciously, is constantly campaigning for external attention. Dress, which should be an expression of self, becomes an invitation for external observation, a flag raised in search of validation, and the man, who should be the safe harbor, finds himself in a constant vigil, questioning the line between personal expression and the deliberate pursuit of strangers' glances. What to do then, man? Succumb to resignation? Allow the tide of disorder to sweep away your peace? No. Stoic wisdom calls for incisive action, for control over what is within our domain, our reactions, our judgments, our choices. The first attitude is to recognize the situation for what it is. Call things by their proper names, as Confucius taught. The rectification of names is the beginning of all wisdom. If you have to ask your partner not to seek validation from other men, there's already a fundamental problem. This isn't a request. It's a realization of a fundamental deviation in the principles of the relationship. It's not about prohibiting or controlling the other, but about setting clear boundaries for yourself. You cannot force the woman to change her pursuit of validation, but you can refuse to be the fuel for that pursuit. Saying no to behavior that undermines your peace isn't weakness. It's courage. It's the defense of your inner sanctuary. Your posture, your calm, yet firm voice, communicate an undeniable truth. Your peace is non-negotiable. If her need for validation clashes with your need for respect, the choice, however difficult, must be for your integrity. Start with yourself. Define your non-negotiable principles. What do you value in a relationship? What is essential for your peace of mind? If loyalty, respect, and exclusive attention are pillars for you, then these should be your guides. Write them down. Internalize them. Know thyself, said the Oracle of Delphi. Knowing your own limits and values is the foundation for any just and courageous action. The man who knows himself does not get carried away by the current of others, expectations, or the demands of a relationship that does not honor him. Communicate with clarity and serenity, but with firmness. Not with anger or accusation, but with the raw, naked truth. I don't feel respected when you seek attention from other men on social media. My peace is compromised when I feel your validation comes from outside. Honesty, however painful, is the cornerstone for any change. But remember, if the truth you need to express is so basic and fundamental to the dignity of a relationship, then the conversation is no longer about the action itself, but about the lack of alignment on essential values. It's the realization that the obvious needs to be stated, which is a bad omen. If communication fails, if the woman refuses to see the impact of her actions or to seek genuine change, the next Stoic attitude is detachment. Not in anger or vengeance, but as an act of self-preservation. You are not a therapist nor a savior. It is not your duty to fill a void that doesn't belong to you. Seneca teaches us, withdraw from the crowd unless you want to be a part of it. If the environment has become toxic, if the relationship has become a stage for the pursuit of external validation, your exit is not a failure, but an act of self-affirmation and dignity. Remember the dichotomy of control. You control your actions, your reactions, your choices. You don't control the woman's actions or her pursuit of validation. By stepping away from a situation that corrodes you, you're not giving up on love, but cultivating self-love. Your peace is your most precious asset. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, Epictetus said. Your reaction should be one of self-preservation, a quest for the serenity that no one else can give or take away from you. The solution, from a Stoic perspective, isn't to try to change the woman, but to strengthen yourself. Become unshakable. Cultivate your discipline, your virtue, your purpose. A man rooted in his values is not easily perturbed by the tides of external vanity. He doesn't seek approval, he inspires it. True strength doesn't lie in controlling others, but in mastering oneself, in forging a character that is immune to external storms and the fluctuations of others' opinions. Focus on your mission, on what you can build, on what you can improve, within yourself. When your purpose is greater than the need to please or be accepted, the pursuit of external validation loses its power over you. Your life becomes your own masterpiece. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, your happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts, and your thoughts should be directed towards what is meaningful, towards what uplifts you, and not towards what distracts or diminishes you. Society, in its relentless pursuit of convenience and pleasure, often imposes upon us the acceptance of the unacceptable. Promiscuity is normalized, the search for attention is glamorized, but the Stoic man refuses to be swept away by this current. He draws his own line, not out of dogma, but out of reason and virtue. He knows that when society begins to redefine what is basic, what is decent, what is respectable, it is his individual duty to maintain the integrity of his standards. Protect your mind, your heart, your home. Not from the woman herself, but from the disorder she can bring when her inner compass points towards external validation. You cannot control society's trends, but you can control what you allow into your inner circle. This defense is not an aggression, but a safeguard. It's recognizing that external influence, if not filtered, can corrupt even the strongest spirits. The pursuit of a healthy relationship, from a Stoic perspective, is not the annihilation of the other, but the union of two individuals seeking their own completeness. The man should seek a partner who cultivates virtue, not exhibitionism. One who seeks inner peace, not external applause. A relationship is a two-way street, and the foundation is mutual respect in the pursuit of a shared purpose, not the satisfaction of selfish needs or the validation of insecurities. If she cannot, or will not, walk this path with you. Accept it. Stoic amor fati is not passive resignation, but the acceptance of reality, however harsh it may be. You are not responsible for her journey, only for your own. Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will prosper, Epictetus taught. True freedom lies in accepting what cannot be changed and focusing on what is within your control. Integrity is your armor. When you act in accordance with your values, even if it means being alone for a while, you strengthen yourself. True strength lies not in subjugating others, but in mastering yourself. Your integrity is your fortress. It protects you from corrosive influences and keeps you anchored in who you truly are, instead of conforming to the volatile expectations of the world. In the end, promiscuity and the incessant pursuit of external validation by the woman are not just her problem, but a test for the man. A test of his patience, his resilience, his ability to maintain his standards in a world that disregards them. It's a test for his soul, for his ability to discern what is genuine from what is superficial, what is constructive from what is destructive. You are not fated to be a hostage to another's emotional chaos. Liberation comes from recognizing your own strength, your ability to choose your own path. Don't sell yourself for an illusion of love that is, in reality, slavery disguised as acceptance. The chain that binds you is not made of steel, but of your own expectations and the fear of being alone. Break that chain with the sharp blade of reason and self-sufficiency. Society may be disorderly, but you don't have to be. Lean on other men who seek virtue, clarity, discipline. Share your experiences. Learn from the wisdom of those who have walked difficult paths. Male brotherhood based on principles and values is a bulwark against disorder, a space for mutual support and strengthening. The search for the ideal partner is not a chimera. She is the woman who values your virtue, who seeks completeness within herself, who doesn't need an army of admirers to feel worthy, the one who sees in you not a provider of validation, but a journey companion. She is the woman who understands that true love is not the sum of external approvals, but the construction of a private universe, where peace and stability are the pillars. Psychoanalysis gives us tools to understand the origins of certain behaviors. Stoicism gives us the discipline to deal with them, not to justify disorder, but to protect ourselves from it and to seek the harmony that is our right. Connect with your essence, with the silent voice of your reason and your principles. That is where true strength resides, the compass that will guide you through the turmoil. Accept that imperfection is part of the human condition, both in yourself and in others. But do not accept disorder as a standard. Promiscuity, the incessant pursuit of validation, when they become the norm, corrode the foundation of any solid relationship. Acceptance is not passivity, but the recognition of reality from which to act wisely. Look at yourself in the mirror, man. What do you see? A reflection of the world, or the image of a man who refuses to be defined by external disorder? The choice is yours. The clarity of your own image, free from the distortions the world tries to impose, is the first step towards self-sufficiency and true freedom. The path of virtue at times is solitary, but it is a path that leads to true freedom, to true peace. Do not fear solitude. Fear the company that corrodes your soul. Solitude, for the Stoic, is not absence, but fullness. It is the space where the soul finds itself, strengthens itself, and prepares for the trials of the world. Discernment is key. Not every woman is a source of chaos, but the ability to discern between the partner who builds up and the one who destroys is vital for your spiritual and emotional survival. As Marcus Aurelius advised, be like the rock against which the waves continuously break. It stands firm, and the waves are calmed. Study, learn. The teachings of the ancients are not dusty relics, but compasses for modern life. Find your foundation in principles that resist time and futility. Knowledge is your light, and Stoic philosophy, in particular, offers a beacon for navigating the murky waters of human relationships. Anger, jealousy, frustration are human emotions. Recognize them, but don't let them control you. Channel that energy into self-mastery, into building a stronger, more resilient self. As Epictetus would say, no man is free who is not master of himself. Self-control is true freedom, the ability to choose your response, not to be swept away by instinctive reactions. Beware of subtle manipulation, tears that aren't from sadness, Compliments that aren't sincere, validation that comes with a price. Learn to read between the lines to see beyond the surface. The woman who needs to manipulate is the woman who lacks the strength of virtue, and the man who allows himself to be manipulated is the man who has abandoned his own authority. The man is the foundation. If the foundation yields, the entire structure collapses. Lead your relationship with wisdom, with virtue, with a clear purpose. Don't be reactive. Be the catalyst for order. A leader is not one who imposes, but one who inspires by example and by the clarity of his vision. If you don't lead, chaos will. Your greatest battle isn't against the woman, but against your own fears. The fear of being alone, the fear of not being loved, the fear of not being enough. Confront these fears and they will lose their power over you. Fear is the prison of the soul, and only you hold the key to liberate yourself. Self-awareness and the courage to face your own demons are the true acts of bravery. You have within you the ability to resist, to flourish, to find your own spring of peace. Do not depend on external sources to quench your thirst for happiness. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. True satisfaction comes not from what the world offers, but from what you build within yourself. Peace is a choice. Virtue is a path. Do not be carried away by the disorder that tries to impose itself as normality. Choose your peace. Choose your virtue. This inner light, emanating from a serene and virtuous spirit, is your strongest shield against external turbulence. Climb the mountain of self-knowledge. From there, you will have a clearer view, a perspective that transcends the chaos of everyday life. You will see that the true victory lies in controlling yourself, not others. The elevated perspective allows you to see the bigger picture, to detach from minor irritations, and to focus on what truly matters. The issue of promiscuity and the incessant pursuit of validation, under the Stoic lens and inspired by Freud, reveals a crucial point. When a man finds himself in the position of having to explain the obvious in a relationship, it's a sign that the foundations are compromised. If you need to say that provocative photos on social media are disrespectful, that the pursuit of external attention undermines intimacy, or that loyalty is a basic pillar, then you're not dealing with a communication breakdown, but with a fundamental misalignment of essential values. This need to state the obvious is exhausting. It's like trying to explain to a river that it must flow to the sea. If your partner doesn't understand, without needing to be told, the basic principles of respect, exclusivity, and dignity that sustain a relationship, then her mental and emotional promiscuity has already set in, regardless of physical acts. She is engaged in a constant quest for validation that disregards your presence and your worth. The man who constantly needs to verbalize the obvious wears himself out. He feels like a parent reprimanding a child, instead of an equal partner. This dynamic reverses roles, destroys passion, and replaces admiration with resentment. The masculine soul, made to build and protect, not to beg for respect, shrinks. The solution for the man in this scenario is radical and deeply stoic. Refuse to live in the obvious. It's not about abandoning love, but about abandoning futility. If you need to state the obvious, she is not the woman for you. Not in the sense of she is bad, but in the sense of she is not aligned with your most fundamental values for building a home and a lasting partnership. The way out is an act of unshakable self-respect. It's recognizing that life is too short to waste explaining what should be felt and lived. It's a call to action, to the courage to distance yourself from what does not serve you and what does not respect your standards. First, reaffirm your values to yourself. Not to her, not to the world, but to your own soul. What do you stand for? What do you seek in a relationship? What is non-negotiable? This inner clarity is your compass. Second, practice calmness in the face of chaos. When the obvious needs to be stated and the reaction is denial or aggression, maintain your posture. Your serenity is your power. Don't argue, don't justify yourself. Your position is clear. Just observe. Third, be ready to act in accordance with your values. If the obvious is not understood and the behavior does not change, your withdrawal must be a natural and calm consequence. It is not a punishment, but an act of self-preservation. A man's dignity is not begged for, it is protected. Solitude in this context is not a burden, but an opportunity. An opportunity to rebuild yourself, to align with your mission, to attract a partner who resonates with your integrity, not with your insecurities. She will come when you no longer need to fill voids, when your own completeness is your greatest attraction. The woman who truly values you won't need you to state the obvious. She will feel it, live it. The reciprocity of values will be the silent and unbreakable foundation of the relationship. She will seek validation in your character, in your connection, and not in the ephemeral nature of digital applause or strangers' glances. The true Stoic man protects his inner peace above all else. He doesn't negotiate his principles for conditional love, for superficial attention, or for a relationship where the obvious needs to be verbalized. The flame of his dignity must burn unceasingly. May you not be the man who needs to state the obvious, but the man whose presence and conduct make the obvious unnecessary. May your life be a testament to integrity, a beacon of clarity in a world of fog. The path is challenging, but the reward is true freedom. Are you ready to embrace it? If this message reached you, it's because you're not alone. Support the cause and help someone else. Like, share, and subscribe, and support our cause.